Om Namo Narayana. Welcome back. We are on Canto 4 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you noticed that I have spiced it up a little bit. Just a little bit. In my, I don't forget what we call this, a scarf for nothing else. I debuted this in my last set of videos on the Yoga Sutras. Essentially, I bought this because I just was always doing the videos in my shirt and whatever, and I don't know, I felt not naked, not plain, not formal enough, and I know the background here is all funky, whatever, but I just felt like I wanted to do a little bit, so I found this online and I bought it. It came from India. It's really, really nice and really cool, and it's upside down in the video, and backwards. But you'll see a box here that's actually the Hare Krishna mantra. So, yeah, that's what this is. This is just trying to bring a little more ambiance to this channel. Also, it's really comfy and I really like it. And it makes me feel, I don't know, more connected. So anyways, that's what this is. Just a new thing. So we're on chapter 4 today. Sati quits her body. Also, you may have just heard my cat meowing. One of the many sound effects on this channel, including cars going by and sirens and everything else. Here's my little kitties. So, here we go. The sage Maitreya continued his story. Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati, seeing her between decisions. Sati was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room as a swing moves this way and that. She felt very sorry at being forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house, and due to affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision. Thereafter, Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. When they saw Sati leaving alone very rapidly, thousands of Lord Shiva's disciples, headed by Maniman and Mada, quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas. The disciples of Lord Shiva arranged for Sati to be seated on the back of a bull and gave her the bird which was her pet. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment and covered her with a great canopy. Followed by a singing party with drums, conch shells, and bugles, the entire procession was as pompous as a royal parade. She then reached her father's house, where the sacrifice was being performed, and entered the arena where everyone was chanting the Vedic hymns. The great sages, brahmanas, and demigods were all assembled there, and there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pots made of clay, stone, gold, grass, and skin, which were all requisite for the sacrifice. When Sati with her followers reached the arena, because all the people assembled were afraid of Daksha, none of them received her well. No one welcomed her but her mother and sisters, who, with tears in their eyes and glad faces, welcomed her and talked with her very pleasingly. Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception, and although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything, for her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare. Present in the arena sacrifice, Sati saw that there were no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha, did not receive her either. Thus she became greatly angry, so much that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. The followers of Lord Shiva, the ghosts, were ready to injure or kill Daksha, but Sati stopped them by her order. She was very angry and sorrowful, and in that mood she began to condemn the process of sacrificial fruitive activities and persons who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifices. She especially condemned her father, speaking against him in the presence of all. She said, "Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all entities. He has no rival. No one is very dear to him, and no one is his enemy. No one but you could be envious of such a universal being who is free from all enmity. Twice-born Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only finds no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul. It is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as the self to always engage in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good, because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of great personalities. My dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of 2 syllables, Shi and Va, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him. You are envious of Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all living entities within the 3 worlds. For the common man, he fulfills all desires, and because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, he also blesses higher personalities who are seeking after transcendental bliss. Do you think that greater, more respectable personalities than you, such as Lord Brahma, do not know this inauspicious person who goes under the name Lord Shiva? He associates with the demons in the crematorium. His locks of hair are scattered all over his body, and he is garlanded with human skulls and smeared with ashes from the crematorium. But in spite of all these inauspicious qualities, great personalities like Brahma honor him by accepting the flowers offered to his lotus feet and placing them with great respect on their heads. If one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender, and after that one should give up his own life. Therefore I shall no longer bear this unworthy body, which has been received from you, who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. If someone has taken food which is poisonous, the best treatment is to vomit. It is better to execute one's own occupational duty than to criticize others. Elevated transcendentalists may sometimes forego the rules and regulations of the Vedas, since they do not need to follow them. Just as the demigods travel in space, whereas ordinary men travel on the surface of the earth. In the Vedas, there are directions for 2 kinds of activities. Activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment, and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these 2 kinds of activities, there are 2 kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see 2 kinds of activities in one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendentally situated. My dear father, the opulence we possess is impossible for either you or your flatterers to imagine. For persons who engage in fruitive activities by performing great sacrifices are concerned with satisfying their bodily necessities by eating foodstuff offered as sacrifice. We can exhibit our opulences simply by desiring to do so. This can be achieved only by great personalities who are renounced, self-realized souls. You are an offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and unfortunately I have a body produced from yours. I am very much ashamed of our bodily relationship, and I condemn myself because my body is contaminated by a relationship with a person who is an offender at the lotus feet of the greatest personality. Because of our family relationship, when Lord Shiva addresses me as Dakshinayi, I at once become morose, and my jolliness and my smile at once disappear. I feel very much sorry that my body, which is just like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. The sage Maitreya told Vidura. O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air, mixed with intelligence to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately seated on the lap of Lord Shiva, who was worshipped by great sages and saints, Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to meditate on the fiery air within the body. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin, and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to his own daughter Sati, who was not only chaste, but was also a great soul, and she gave up her body because of his neglect. Daksha, who was so hard-hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahmana, will gain extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of his great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While people were talking amongst themselves about the wonderful voluntary death of Sati, the attendants who had come with her readied themselves to kill Daksha with their weapons. They came forward forcibly, but Bhrigu Muni saw the danger, and offering oblations into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, immediately uttered mantra hymns from the Yajurveda, by which the destroyers of yajnik performances could be killed immediately. When Bhrigu Muni offered oblations in the fire, immediately many thousands of demigods named Ribus became manifested. All of them were powerful, having achieved strength from Soma, the moon. When the Ribu demigods attacked the ghosts and Guyakas with half-burned fuel from the Yajna fire, all these attendants of Sati fled in different directions and disappeared. This was possible simply because of the Brahmateyas, Brahminical power. Thus ends chapter 4. There was a lot to take in there, but I'm just going to say I'm so happy to see a woman have a big, great part in the Purana here. I have complained about this many times, how women are treated in this book. They're sex objects. They are here to give birth, and that's pretty much it. They are treated very poorly. I've mentioned many times on this channel that someone needs to look into these scriptures at how women are treated, because it hurts to read this sometimes. Finally, we get a woman, and even though she commits suicide, she gets a moment to avenge herself and to call out the men and to be a strong woman. Finally, it's nice to read that. There was something at the end here where Bhrigu Muni used a bunch of words from the Yajurveda and manifested stuff. So I was looking at the Vedas the other day, all 4 of them. They're all online now. One of my goals for this channel is to eventually read the Rig Veda. I'm also planning to read the Samaveda, or parts of it. So I was looking at the Yajurveda and the Arthaveda. Arathaveda? I can't remember how that's pronounced. My apologies. It's the lesser of the 4, so please excuse me. And it was really interesting as I was going through the Yajurveda and looking at it. It is actually what is written here. It's incantations. It's some hymns of praise, but a lot of prayers and a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking out. God, for lack of a better word, I'm just going to say magical, phrases to manifest different blessings, to manifest things, to make stuff happen. And it was really interesting as I was going through this. It was like everything you could think of, like how to make wheat grow, how to make rain, how to have your cow give birth, but also how to manifest jewels and money, how to make someone love you, how to make someone stop loving you, how to hurt somebody. I mean, literally, it was good and bad and everything. It was really amazing. And they had all these prayers and things you would say to create. And that is something we see in the Bhagavad Gita even. They have weapons that are used by, they say a word and the weapon shoots. That being said, so this is actually talking about stuff that you can verify. But that being said, if you go into the Ayurveda today and you read these things, will stuff happen? I don't know. I don't know how much the world changed with the Kali Yuga. Maybe it doesn't work like that anymore. Maybe they've lost their power. Also, I believe you have to say it in Sanskrit. You can't use English or any other language. You have to say it in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is a powerful language. Just to say it in English is like hocus pocus, abracadabra. It has no meaning. But it's validated when they talk about using words and manifesting stuff. It's there. As I said, would it happen for you if you had the Sanskrit and you could do it? I don't know. If someone has used the Sanskrit and manifested stuff from the Vedas, please put that down below. I would be amazed to know what happened when you said these things, if anything or whatever. But the world was a very different place at one point, if we are to believe that these things are true and it actually happened. And it's sad that we're living now in the Kali Yuga where we've lost magic. We've lost magic. Okay. Alright. Yeah. I will end there. Thoughts, comments, as always, you know where they go. Thank you for listening. And Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare